Maryland Board of Elections for the 2020 general election. In Gaithersburg, Eagle News correspondent Naya Dames has the details. Naya?
Thank you, Anna. Not too far from D.C., here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, we're also having a cool evening as well. 65 degrees Celsius, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 degrees Celsius. In other news, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announced earlier this month a strategy to hold a normal election in November to boost voter access during the pandemic. Mixed reactions surrounded the governor's pronouncement. Many veterans have opted out due to their age and health, putting them at high risk of contracting the coronavirus, causing a shortage of election judges. About 1/3 of Maryland's 27,000 judge jobs are vacant. Maryland Association of Election Officials President David Garay said, "Without election judges, it will be impossible. Recruiting election judges is the most difficult task by the boards in normal circumstances." To help with the public's concerns, Hogan announced that the state will provide all necessary PPE to operate polls. To execute this plan will be very costly. Parts of the cost will be to provide the necessary equipment, mailing, and return postages. Plexiglass shields to separate 6,000 election judges will cost an estimate of $1 million for one Maryland county alone. It will cost Maryland an extra $20 million to finance this plan. There were many failures with the Maryland primary election that occurred back in June. Ballots were not sent out by mail as planned. Many reported their ballots being sent out late or not having received one at all. Some even received multiple ballots. There were also complications regarding the language of the ballots that were sent. Voters did not receive ballots in the language that they had requested. The process of in-person voting was also flawed. The limited amount of in-person voting centers created hours-long waits due to the social distancing measures that were imposed. Since June, the board staff have been working to review and identify problems and take action to address them to become better prepared for the November election. The board had a split vote in early July to use a limited number of in-person voting centers and mail absentee ballot applications to every registered voter. At least 77% of American voters across the nation can cast ballots by mail. If you opt to vote by mail, your ballot will not be automatically given to you if you do not request for one. There will be no requirement to give a reason as to why you cannot vote in person. Applications for mail-in ballots will start to be mailed out to registered voters in the coming weeks. The deadline to request is October 20th. All voters should strive to mail in early to take into consideration the U.S. Postal Service's warning of ballots not arriving in time for counting. Ballots can also be returned in person to your local Board of Elections by 8 p.m. on the day of the election, an early voting site or polling place, to skip the mailing process altogether. As for those who wish to vote in person, the Maryland Board of Elections approved early in-person voting 8 days prior to Election Day, starting from October 26th until November 2nd. About 80 voting sites will be open across the state, including additional centers and ballot drop-off boxes available on Election Day. More information can be found on the Maryland Board of Elections website. In the meantime, keep your eyes open for more updates to come concerning the November 2020 presidential election as the day nears. Here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, Naya Dames, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you for your report, Naya. Nice and cool there too, where you are, huh?
Yes.
So it sounds like, everything is trying to be done to take care of the upcoming election. But what particular problem do you foresee in this combination of in-person and mail absentee voting there in Maryland?
That's a very good question, Anna. I myself am not a voting age yet, but as what happened in the primary elections in June, I see the same problem happening in ballots being sent out late or not being sent out at all. To add to that, voters receiving their ballots late may, not saying they will, but may try to go to their local voting centers to get their votes in, or just let it go and not get themselves counted. Instructions as to how the absentee voting process in Maryland will work should be made as clear as possible to all voters here in order to avoid confusion and have a fair election as a result.
Well, thank you, Naya, for that report. Take care and enjoy your cool weather.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.